We're focusing on the Port Harcourt killings of those 4 University of Port Harcourt students. Well, Malachy Ugwumadu joins us now. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, yes, we unfortunately have got to focus on these kind of matters again today, because it's not the first time we're having these kind of extrajudicial killings, and then you also do have, once upon a time we talked about rape, we talked about the policeman who shot some people in Bayelsa. We talked about so many of these things going on. And then we ask ourselves now, what's going on with society? I did ask Uncle Briggs, is it that we're focused so much on getting the authorities to do the right things, and we're not looking inwards to see how we conduct our daily affairs?
What is going on is the culture of violence and impunity. Once you abdicate your responsibility in response to this culture, the result is what we are witnessing today. And how do I mean? You recall that less than a year ago, I'm not too sure about the time, I had the privilege of sitting here over the gang raping in Abia State University. The commissioner of police then, I don't know whether he's still there, was put on the spot by your good selves. It was a long stretch of denial. He kept denying, and at the end of the day, that seemed to be the story. Therefore, the fact that a similar issue this time around, resulting in extrajudicial murder of 4 promising Nigerians, is not a big surprise to me. I say this because the law, the essence of the law of having a regulated society through the instrumentalities of legislation is to also, amongst other things, put a check to this culture of impunity. Section 33 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, makes the right to life sacrosanct and insists that every Nigerian is entitled to that life, and that sacred life cannot be taken except in pursuance to a valid court order. There was no such court order in this instance. There was also no trial. It was a mob action resulting in this killing. But my big concern is this. Assuming this were a mere frame-up, because we were...
Frame-up of those who were killed?
Yes,
okay.
By any person. It could be any person. Looking at those faces, it will be difficult to, as a lawyer too, to conclusively arrive at the point that they were all criminals.
There's so many stories out there at the moment, actually.
Now, if that assertion could be considered, if we could interrogate it, it will mean that Nigeria has actually left the pact where people can, on broad daylight, and like Bridge said, I saw people jumping in joy. People were clapping, happy. We have got to a situation where crimes and criminalities have now assumed the garb of comedy, like I usually say. So what is to be done? There are institutions that are directly responsible for, if you like, implementing or sustaining the very essence of government, which is the welfare and security of lives and property. The police is number one. And the role of the police in this particular instance should be further investigated for the purposes of punishment, not for any other thing.
For punishment
they
of
failed.
those who were involved?
They failed abysmally. You cannot think of a community with a university institution without 1 or 2 security outposts. It is inconceivable, it is unbelievable that the police in that environment could not intervene. And the period of time that these people had to execute this bestiality was sufficient enough for a proactive police organization to take one or two steps. You see, it is not just our constitution that abhors this. Even other international instruments, including the human rights community, are totally confused as to where we have gotten to. And therefore, we call on the federal government, since the state is looking helpless this time, to immediately apprehend the perpetrators in this of this act, and then bring them directly to justice. You see, when you don't do that, you must naturally expect another occurrence of a similar incident elsewhere.
Let's find out from the police authorities to see, because there's so many questions being asked of them from everywhere. Well, we should be joined on the phone now by Sam Okaula, who is the Deputy Commissioner of Police, CID, in Rivers State. Morning, and thank you for joining us. What could you tell us about what the killings of these 4 students of University of Port Harcourt?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that accident took place. And I can assure you that when we got the information, we promptly waded into the matter. As I'm talking to you now, I have 13 suspects in my cell, including a prominent leader of that community. We are interrogating them, and we are getting more information. We are also training the perpetrators, the leaders of this group that took laws into their hands. And I can also assure you that we are on the ground, and we will make sure, no matter what, fish out these criminals. We cannot afford to, I repeat, afford to allow them to go scot-free. The 13 suspects we have in our set were actually part of the group. And as at this moment, we are also at the verge of picking the arrowheads. We have, last night, picked a lady who was the one giving them the cover. She has made this full statement. So all in all, we are on top of the situation, and we carry out in-depth investigation. Well, no matter whoever is involved, we are going to fish them out, we are going to smoke them from wherever they are hiding, and then we'll get to the root of this matter and ensure we prosecute whoever is found indicted.
Do you have the traditional ruler in custody?
I am not going to give you details from whoever I have now, because that will jeopardize my process of investigation. But like I have told you, I have prominent leaders of that community who are assisting us in our investigation.
All right. Tell us about when did you actually get information on this matter, and couldn't it have been prevented?
Now, the local police in the area, that is Shopo Division, got a distress call some few hours after the incident had taken place. By the time you watch that scene, the criminals have already carried out their disably and heinous acts. But notwithstanding, we now took over the case from them to the local police, and we're able to act on the intelligence and information, and we'll pick the suspects we have now. So I think the local police was not promptly informed about this incident at the initial stage. But that is not the issue now. The issue is that we are going to look out for the perpetrators, and we are going to make sure we arrest all of them and prosecute them accordingly.